The 2010 Hawaii Business Wahine Forum is presented by the Queen's Health Systems.
With that, we have a lot of ground to cover today, so I thought we would start off by talking about Hope Lab. I hear there's an interesting backstory as to how and why you created the organization, so why don't you start off with that?
Well, first, thank you very much for the invitation to speak, and thank you, Aaliyah, for that nice introduction, and to everyone at the Junior League and the YWCA for hosting this. I'd also like to say that I don't really do many public speaking engagements, and family comes first. So if you see me, it's because I'm usually on a field trip, with my kids' schools or something like that. I see a lot of the moms here that are in pickup and drop off line today, so it's really nice to have so many friendly faces. And normally, the reason we wanted Pat Kristen to be with us today was it's not typical that a founder and chair of a board and a CEO work so well together. We're truly aligned in our values and in our dedication to the mission of Hope Lab. And so the purpose was to actually see the interaction between us and how we actually take the vision and values and actually implement it into an organization and have it be living and breathing. So we're very sad that Pat can't be with us. I'll do my best to channel her. And
you're a one-woman show.
Where I can, and the only benefit you don't have is when Pat would say, well, what Pam meant to say was. So we'll do our best today. So just to go back on how actually Hope Lab came about, because it's sort of a long story. I think now that we're on the other end of it, people might think it was just a couple years of work, and look, we have a video game for kids with cancer, and we have product in development. But the idea for Hope Lab actually started right after undergraduate, and my husband Pierre and I met in college and moved to California right after that, and he was a computer programmer and I was a sort of scientist in training working in a research lab, and so I spent my days growing cancer cells under the microscope so that the researchers could use them for their experiments and try to find better targets for cancer therapy. And then, Pierre and I would come home from work and be kind of geeky and play video games. And at some point I had this idea, well, wouldn't it be great for kids with cancer to be able to blast their cancer cells away in a video game, and it would take place within the body, and they could get out their frustration and actually visualize killing their own cancer cells. And as so happens with ideas, you sort of put it in your pocket and you go and live your life and continue your day job. And I went out to graduate school and then left graduate school and did sort of a massive career change. And in that transition period of what am I going to do with my life, since I'm no longer getting a PhD, I sort of reinvigorated the game. And it was 1994, and in Silicon Valley, the video game industry was sort of taking off, and people were excited about it. So I shopped it, pretty much, not knowing anything about video games. And of course, people were like, it's a small market, cancer patients. Yeah, not so much this fantastic voyage thing. I don't think it's going to work. And, like most people without a job, you have to find one pretty quickly if you're going to, make rent. And so that got put on hold again. And, Pierre was still a computer programmer, and I became a management consultant. Oh, okay. Is this better? Oh.
Can you start again?
So do you need me to repeat the whole story? So hopefully not. So
the gist of the story wasn't easy.
Yeah, we'll fast forward to 1999. Thank you. And Pierre's computer programming was going very well. He founded a online auction company called eBay, which went public. And at that point, both Pierre and I did a sort of a massive rethink of what our future was going to look like. And so it was during actually a meeting about the Meteor Foundation, which is now a Meteor Network, that all of a sudden, complete non sequitur, I had this sort of epiphany that I could do this video game for kids with cancer now because I could just do it myself. And I had, the freedom to be able to do that. So the people at the meeting were gracious enough to appreciate the change in subject and put me in touch with some physicians at Stanford. And so during that first meeting, which involved clinical psychologists and pediatric oncologists at Stanford, I explained the concept of what is now remission, which is this game to help kids cope better with their cancer. And I'll just end this first part by saying when one of the physicians, Dr. Gary Dahl, I said, well, so what do you think of this idea? Is it crazy? And he looked at me and he said, this is the first time, if you do this game, this is the first time I'll be able to give my kids a sense of control over their disease. And I think that message of a sense of control and having a positive behavior change has really resonated throughout sort of the Hope Lab's work, but also a lot of the work that we do.